And now on the line is Aileen Waters, who is a co-founder and spokesperson of the Home from Home, the Dodder Area Community Sponsorship Group. Aileen, welcome to the programme.
Thanks very much, Darren. Thank you for inviting us on.
Okay, Aileen, could you start off by telling our listeners on Near FM a bit about your background, please, and then tell us why and how you set up your group?
Sure. I live in Terranure and I retired last year. And I just, with the fall of Kabul in Afghanistan last summer, on top of many of the images that we'd already seen of the plight of refugees, I really felt it was time to get involved in something and get practical about it. So I contacted the Irish Refugee Council around the same time as another friend now. Aoife contacted them. And together we set about putting a team in place under the Community Sponsorship Scheme. So the Community Sponsorship Scheme is an alternative to the usual model of refugee resettlement, and it enables communities like our own to come together to welcome and support a refugee family resettling in Ireland. The families that come...
Go ahead, yeah.
The families that come have already been registered with the UNHCR and the Irish government, and they're typically coming from camps in Lebanon and Jordan. But they've already had, a fair bit of trauma in their lives, and our aim is to try and welcome them into a community here and make them feel settled.
Okay. You think you just mentioned this, but what do you hope to achieve with your group in the short term, medium term and long term, Aileen?
Okay, well initially we've got two main aims. The first of these is to raise money to help them when they come here so that we can help them settle and become part of our community. Our aim is to raise €20,000. We've done reasonably well on that so far in that we've almost €12,000. And that has come from fundraising and from donations from friends and families. We set up a GoFundMe page. And I have to say, as always, the Irish people are very generous, and we've received donations from €5 to €1,500. The Jesuits in Milltown donated us €1,500 recently. And everything we raise will go to support the family. So that's one of our first aims. The second one, and the bigger challenge at the moment, is to find accommodation for this family. So we will not be allocated a family until we have accommodation that they can move into. So we'd like to use this opportunity to appeal for anybody who might have accommodation in or around the Dodder area to consider working with us to help us provide the accommodation to the family when they come. The sponsorship lasts for 2 years. You asked the medium term. So over the 2 years, we will support this family. They'll obviously have certain social welfare entitlements, but on top of that, there may be extra expenses that they'll need to fill. And we will do our best to help them in that area as well.
Okay, you're currently looking to help one family or resettle one family. Are the Department of Foreign Affairs and the Irish Refugee Council, Aileen, looking for more people to do the kind of work that you are doing in your group?
They are indeed. I believe there's 13 families have been settled so far through this scheme, and that's around 50 people. The hope is that by the end of next year, there'll be 100 people a year coming to Ireland under this scheme. So already we have spoken to other groups around the country. The first family came into Dunshaughlin in County Meath. There are now groups around Dublin, in the West, in Cork. And, each of those groups is trying to do what we're trying to do. And it's great for communities in the long run because, with the people who are coming here have no support. But we as a group have come together and we would aim to provide them with that kind of the support that friends and family would provide anybody with.
Would it be true to say that if you and the other 13 groups weren't doing your work, these people wouldn't be resettled in Ireland at all?
Well, I would hope that there'd be some way of resettling them. I'm not sure what the government would be able to do without this. I mean, this is in addition to the other systems that are in place to help bring refugees into the country, but this is something on top of that.
Okay.
I'm not sure what would be there without us.
Okay, and you're particularly looking for accommodation in the South Dublin region, aren't you?
We are indeed, because when the family come, we want to be in contact with them, so we need to be near enough to them that we can help them with schools, finding doctors, dental practices, that type of thing.
And are you hoping as well that, like yourselves and the other 13 groups, will inspire other people to do the same kind of work?
Definitely. I mean, we're a group now of about 12 people. We're strangers to each other when we started, but through this scheme we've come together I would hope that within the next 6 months we'll have raised the money that's needed and hopefully have accommodation for that family. And I kind of feel that if we can come together in this way, there's nothing to stop other groups doing the same. I know there are a few others. There's one nearby us in Rathfarnham and Dundrum. There's one in Dublin 8 who have already settled a family. There was one in Dublin 6 a couple of years ago, brought a family in. So I think it's something that once people are aware of it and aware that they can actually make a difference in a practical way, it's quite encouraging to see groups doing that already.
Okay, Aidan, can you tell our listeners on there if any of them are interested, the best way of supporting your group, but also if they're interested in kind of setting up their own group for their own area, you know?
Well, supporting us, obviously, we've got our various social media outlets. So we've got, we're on Twitter, Dodder HH. We're on Instagram, Home from Home, Dodder Area. We have a website, Home from Home, Dodder Area, or Dodder.com. And we also have a GoFundMe page. The easiest way to find us there is to go on to GoFundMe and Google Home from Home, Dodder Area. If other groups want to set up, I think the best thing to do is to contact the Irish Refugee Council, and they will set people in the right direction. If there are people in our area who want to join us, we'd be delighted to have them. And if new groups wanted to be set up, then the Refugee Council would be a great starting place for them.